This isn't just a story. It's a testament to how far betrayal can push a man, and how utterly devastating, yet meticulously planned, a response can be. Imagine dedicating over 2 decades of your life to one woman, only to discover she'd systematically shattered every vow you ever made. The betrayal cut deeper than any knife, but what followed wasn't just heartbreak. It was a cold, calculated plan for justice, one that would leave her world in absolute ruins. My story, if you've got a little time and maybe a snack, spans from late 2019 right up to last week. And trust me, you're going to need that snack. My soon-to-be ex-wife, let's call her Sue, was my high school sweetheart. We started dating in 1992, both just 17, 4 to 5 now, and she was literally the only asterisk woman I had ever been with in my entire life. We married fresh out of college at 22, had our first son a year later, then another, 23 years. 23 years I poured into building her a home, busting my back to give her the life she dreamed of. We had our rough patches. Sure, what marriage doesn't? But we always found a way through, emerging stronger. That's what made the truth of her affair, when it finally hit, so utterly devastating. Flashback to March 2020. I'd been recovering from reconstructive knee surgery since fall 2019, stuck at about 55% range of motion. It took a toll on everything. I was on workers' comp, unable to do my usual household duties, so things piled up. My boys helped where they could, but some tasks only I could do. Our bedroom life had already slowed, but with my injury, it completely stopped. During these months, Sue started spending more time with co-workers after work. From November 2019 to March 2020, it became a regular occurrence. I thought nothing of it. In 23 years, I'd never had a single reason to distrust her. We had our own friends, mutual ones. It was all above board. But then, around January, a chill settled in. Sue grew noticeably distant. We were in a funk, yes, but she'd never denied me affection. The usual hugs and kisses vanished. Her phone, already an extension of her hand, became guarded. Before, she'd share funny memes or DIY ideas. Now, she kept it hidden. Her interactions with me became snippy, as if I was an inconvenience. March arrived, and New York City locked down. Our careers were essential, so we still worked. I'd just been cleared to return after 5 months of maddening rehab, eager to get back to my active life, martial arts, gym 4 days a week, endless home projects. Within weeks of lockdown, Sue announced she'd be putting in extra hours again. I assumed it was every other day, but no, it was every day. Not just an hour or 2, but 3 or more. She'd come home late, go straight to the shower, spend a few minutes with me, a few with our youngest. Our oldest lived with his girlfriend. Then head to bed. As my knee improved, we tried to be intimate, but she wasn't present, mentally or emotionally. I felt it immediately. By early April, the picture sharpened into a chilling clarity. All signs pointed to an affair. I needed answers. I scoured the internet for signs of infidelity. Every single box. She ticked. My search advanced. Asterisk, how do I find proof? Asterisk, I started with social media. Her Facebook from months prior was the usual. Pics of us, our sons, friends, and quite a few nights out with co-workers. Among the familiar faces, 2 stood out, people I'd never met. But one guy, he was an asterisk-locked asterisk of those photos. Always uncomfortably close, his arm around her shoulder, a hand on her lower back. Too close for someone I didn't know. A bitter taste filled my mouth. But that wasn't the worst of it. Oh no, this dude, let's call him P, because that's exactly what he is, was friends with her on Facebook and followed her on Instagram. I went to look up his Facebook, and wouldn't you know it, I was blocked. Asterisk blocked. Asterisk, why would I be blocked from seeing her co-worker's profile if there was nothing to hide? That's when I officially entered Batman detective mode. I wasn't denying it anymore. I knew she was cheating. My mission, find out how long. Over April and May, I did just that. I never knew the sheer depth of information you could pull from phone, text, and email records. We had a family cell phone plan, and I accessed asterisk everything star. Sue's data history was screaming. From October 2019 to April 2020, her 2 most frequent contacts were me and a number I'd never seen. A quick Google search confirmed it P. The guy from the photos, the one who blocked me. The picture was now painfully, undeniably clear. But their messages were disjointed, full of gaps. She was deleting them. I knew she was cheating, but I needed a smoking gun. I needed more star. That's when I confided in my best friend, Ounce. He asked if I confronted her. No, I said, it's not enough. That's when he told me about a spy app. I won't name it, but I downloaded it, synced our data plan, and waited. Within days, I saw it. A text string between them, gushing about how much fun they'd had the previous night, making plans for the weekend. Boom. A punch to the gut doesn't begin to describe it. I was utterly devastated. That moment was my D-Day, and for 2 days, I was just broken. I actively distanced myself from her, and she noticed. She tried to console me, asked what was wrong. I'd just brush her off, couldn't even look at her. This woman, to whom I'd given 23 years, everything I could and more, had stepped outside our marriage for a guy barely older than our eldest son. By the 3rd day, the sadness evaporated, replaced by a cold, searing rage. I contacted Ounce. My suspicion was confirmed. He asked if I confronted her. No, I said, I want payback. I don't just want to divorce her. I want to destroy her. I want to leave her life in shambles, to absolutely ruin her. It would take time, and I had a plan. In my research on infidelity, I'd found a quote that resonated. The enemy of infidelity is unpredictability. That was the foundation. I was going to make her life a living hell, while secretly planning my escape. We're now in early June, and the spy app is still installed. Every night, I gathered data. Their messages weren't just flirty. It was a full-blown relationship. Sexting, intimate talk, nudes. The whole 9 yards. I stopped reading them. I was just cataloging everything on my private server. Meanwhile, I started doing things out of the ordinary. I went out at odd times, came home even later than she did. In her presence, I was on my phone more than usual. When she asked what I was up to, I just shrugged, just stuff, and put it away. I changed all my login info. For our entire marriage, we'd hidden nothing. But, interestingly, right around the suspected start of her affair, she changed her passwords, citing security breaches. A convenient cover for hiding your infidelity from your husband, wouldn't you say? I clued Ounce into my plan, along with my oldest sister and 2 closest friends. These are people I trust with my life, and they swore secrecy. Ounce and I have been friends since kids, Joey and Nina since high school. Keep Nina in mind. She comes into play later. July rolled around, and my soon-to-be ex was in full paranoia mode. She started texting and calling me constantly. Are you coming home? What are you doing? The seed of doubt I planted was sprouting. In her communications with P, she confided her confusion, saying I was cold and distant. The absolute nerve of this woman. Amidst these interactions, she suggested they stop meeting up at our house because she didn't know if I'd just show up. Yes, she'd been bringing him into my home. Thanks, Sue. In that same conversation, P asked if she was worried about me potentially cheating. That pissed her off. I can't even begin to describe the pure joy, the uncontrollable laughter I got from reading that exchange. My cheating wife, arguing with her affair partner because she was mad her husband might be cheating. Oh, the delicious irony. By the way, if you're still with me, make sure to hit subscribe. More unbelievable stories are coming. Let's be clear. I wasn't hooking up with anyone. When I left, I was usually at Ozed's or Joey's place, knocking back a few, watching fights, spending time with my brothers, or at my big sister's house, hanging with her and my brother-in-law, who's like an older brother to me. My sister knew about Sue's infidelity, but not my plan. Couldn't risk it. Her husband, though a good man, was a bit of a blabbermouth. Fast forward to October. Things seriously picked up. My faux affair had been going on for 3 months. Sue was hyper-aware of my active withdrawal. From the day I enacted my plan until October 20th, I hadn't touched her. No hugs, no kisses, no intimacy. Not that she needed it. She was still seeing P, just at his place on motels. That afternoon, she called me at work. It wasn't rare before all this, but hadn't happened in a while. She asked me to come straight home, saying she had something important to tell me. I'm not going to lie. I half believed she was going to come clean. But of course, she didn't. Instead, I got home to her asking if *I* was unhappy with *a star. The sheer, breathtaking audacity of this woman hit me like a physical blow. She cited my time away, my lack of affection, our dead intimacy. She worried I was pushing her away, resentful of how she treated me during my rehab. And then came the punchline. She **** and asked if *I* was cheating on her. Folks, I fell to the floor, laughing. Not a chuckle, not a smirk. This was a raw, guttural, jokerous hysteria. For a solid 2 minutes, I was pounding the floor, tears streaming, before I could compose myself. I sat up, looked her in the eyes for the first time in months, shook my head slowly, but gave no answer. I stood, brushed myself off, kissed the top of her head, and went about settling in for the night. Later that night, in my office, I decided I *** to see what she was telling P. I fired up the app. Sure enough, they were texting in real time. She told P, I know he's cheating on me. I asked him tonight, and he literally laughed in my face. He fell on the floor and laughed for like 5 minutes. It wasn't 5 minutes, obviously. He doesn't even care how I feel anymore. I don't know how or why, but he's gone. I know I've lost him. This is karma. I know it. That smile on my face must have looked like the Cheshire Cat's, wide, satisfied, utterly dark. She was breaking. P attempted to console her, saying if I cared enough, she wouldn't have come to ** for what I wasn't giving her. But the tone of her responses told me she was having doubts now. She had the nerve to step out of our marriage because I was unable to fulfill my role as a husband due to a legitimate injury, and kept the affair going for nearly a year. But the idea of losing me to another woman, that was enough to make her waver. What an absolute weakling. During all of this, I was also executing the second part of my payback, getting all my financial affairs in order. In September, I'd met with a family attorney to start divorce proceedings. New York is an at-fault state under certain circumstances, and the overwhelming evidence of Sue's infidelity I'd piled up meant I could nail her to the wall. My lawyer instructed me to prepare my financials for asset division. I went one better. I secretly pulled all my money from our joint account and put it into my personal one. I also started apartment hunting for Phase 2. We're now in November, and my behavior hadn't changed. In fact, I'd ramped it up. This is where my friend Nina comes in. Nina and Sue were never close. I met Nina freshman year of high school, 2 years before Sue. Even back then, Sue saw Nina as a threat. She was my closest female friend, and Sue's distrust was always implied. Conversely, Nina was never a big fan of Sue. Early in my relationship with Sue, Nina pointed out how Sue imposed herself into our friend group, while I didn't do the same with Sue's friends. It irked Nina because she knew why Sue was doing it. Among Sue's circle, even now, there are no male friends besides P, whereas Nina is the only girl in my circle. Nina had been stuck overseas due to the virus and finally returned to NYC on November 3rd. Ounce, Joey, and I decided to celebrate her return with dinner and drinks at Joey's house. It was just the 5 of us, Ounce, Joey, Joey's wife, who's also Nina's sister, Nina, and me, sticking to CDC guidelines. We took the virus seriously. Nina, the evil mastermind she is, came up with a brilliant idea to trigger Sue. She suggested we take some handsy photos, just like the ones I'd found of Sue and P, and post them to my Facebook. And that's exactly what we did. It wasn't until the 5th that Sue got wind of it, I guess from friends noticing my updates and how uncomfortably close I was with Nina. This really messed with her mind. She still believed I was cheating, and I guarantee she wanted to accuse Nina, but she knew Nina had been stuck in Europe for most of the year. Still, it didn't stop her from trying to dress me down that night for being so handsy in the pictures. I saw this as a golden opportunity to deliver the lead jab for my knockout blow. So, I said, looking her dead in the eye, what about the pics with you and Paul from last year? He was pretty handsy in them, but did you see me get bent out of shape over it? Dill? Deer in headlights. It was the first time I'd even mentioned his name throughout all of this. The hamster wheel in her head started spinning in real time as she tried to explain away those photos. Until that point, she hadn't even known I'd seen them. I use Facebook so little that when I do asterisk posts, it's an event for people, which is why the photos with Nina got so much traction. And explained, she did. He's that way with everyone. He's just a really friendly guy. I can see how it looks, but there's nothing there. I'm sorry if those pictures hurt you. I'll delete them. Asterisk no. No, the pictures aren't what hurt me to asterisk the year you've been sleeping with that dude while lying to me about working extra hours and hanging with friends. Asterisk that's asterisk what hurt me. But vengeance, as Lieutenant Worf from Star Trek TNG famously said, is a dish best served cold. From that night, Sue became extra specially clingy and attentive, almost annoyingly so. She tried to initiate affection and intimacy, and I stonewalled her every chance I got. All the while, I was still archiving everything she said to P. By this point, I'd long since gone numb. Any desire I might have had to save my marriage was dead. I'd checked out the day I enacted the first phase of my plan. She was confiding in P that I'd gotten was, that she didn't know what to do, and felt like I absolutely hated her. Asterisk I do dot asterisk then came the bombshell. She told P she couldn't see him anymore. The guilt was too much. She felt karma suffocating her. She couldn't risk losing asterisk me star. She said she loved P deeply, but she was still in love with me and had to save her marriage before she lost me. Asterisk no. My dear, you're about 8 months too late for that asterisk P lost his mind, saying such lovely things as, he doesn't love you the way I love you. You're making a mistake. You can't just throw me away like this. That text chain would be the last they'd have until about 3 weeks prior to this. Throughout the remainder of November into December, Sue was stuck in limbo. She was trying to gauge where my head was, still unable to tell if I was actually being unfaithful. Meanwhile, P was steadily blowing up her phone daily, but she wasn't responding. I'd see her check her phone, then quickly put it away. Meanwhile, Phase 2 of the plan was officially complete. The divorce papers were done. I'd found a studio apartment in Co-op City, signed a 2-year lease, and all my money was in my personal account. I was ready to throw my haymaker. We're now at Thanksgiving. My oldest son and his girlfriend hosted a small gathering of our immediate families, them, her parents, me, Sue, and our youngest. We had a great night. His girlfriend, studying to be a chef, cooked everything herself. The girl can asterisk cook star. I had to keep up appearances, so I initiated affection with Sue several times that evening. Kisses on the cheek, cute little hugs, wrapping my arms around her shoulders. The gestures didn't go unnoticed. She reveled in them. Bear in mind, this was the first time I'd touched this woman since I kissed her head the night she confronted me in October. Almost 2 months. I'm not going to lie. I felt repulsed, but I had to. I couldn't risk the plan. And me being distant in front of my boys, my oldest girlfriend, and her parents would set off alarms. My youngest son decided to stay over with his big brother for the night, so Sue and I headed home. On the drive, she thanked me for being so good to her and said, I don't know what you're going through, baby, but I'm here for you. I had to hold off busting out in maniacal laughter again and responded, I know, I just need time. So, for the first time since springtime, we were intimate that night. I figured, asterisk screw it. With what I'm about to do, may as well get some action before I delete her from my existence to asterisk. I won't go into detail, but it wasn't love. When I was finished, she was a lump of flesh, lying there trying to figure out which direction the truck that ran her over had come from. No cuddling or anything after. I just got up, showered, and went to sleep in my office. To her confusion, I used a condom, first time in 2 damn decades. She was definitely perplexed, but didn't ask questions. I certainly wasn't going raw, knowing she'd been doing so. With P for months. I woke up the next day and checked my handy-dandy spy app. For the first time in weeks, she responded to P. Dude went full soap opera. He professed his love, said she was wasting her time trying to rekindle a flame in me that had died, that she'd been in a prison with me for 23 years and deserved to experience the love and affection of a man who would cherish her. Mind you, this dude is 27 years old, 5 years older than our oldest son, and is that sprung on a 45-year-old married mother too? What a high-quality choice she made to blow up our marriage and destroy the home we'd built. Pretty boy with a soft side. Indeed. She responded with pretty much the same thing she'd said last they talked. She loved him, enjoyed their time, but couldn't lose me. I was still the love of her life, but she'd always have a place for him in her heart. They could still be friends, but the physical relationship was over. He begged her to see him one last time that week, and yep, you guess it, she said yes. One more for the road, right? Who was I to say anything? That's what I did to her the previous night. Of course, I added all of that to my compiled archive. December 4th, Phase 3, the final phase of Operation Shinobi Ghost, started. Divorce papers in hand, new place set up. Now I had to slowly start moving my stuff out. But first, I had to break the news to my boys. I called my oldest home that Friday night, had them join me in my office, and laid everything on the table. Not the specific, graphic details, but that their mother had been cheating on me for over a year, and I was filing for divorce soon. My 17-year-old was especially shaken. He'd recently experienced his own first taste of infidelity, his girlfriend having cheated on him just 4 months prior. Seeing his heart broken a second time at the idea that his own mother was capable of this hit him hard. My oldest took it better, suggesting his brother move in with him until things blew over, to which I agreed. We packed some of his stuff. He asked if I'd be okay. Yes, son, I told him, I'm going to be all right. And so are you. We're going to be all right, I promise. Then they were off. The hardest part was now over. It was time to arm the nukes. Over the next few weeks, day by day, Ounce would help me get a little of my most sensitive stuff out of the house. I gave him a list of everything to grab while Sue and I were at work and left him the spare key. This was all stuff Sue wouldn't notice was missing unless you told her. I'd also gotten a new phone and number and told everyone who needed to know, Ounce, Joey, Nina, my boys, Big Sis, and my mother. Meanwhile, I kept up the charade with Sue, subtly trickling bits of affection to keep her off the trail. She was still in contact with P, not to the extent they'd been, but an emotional connection lingered. The fog was faint, but still there. All the while, I gathered *everything star. And I do mean *everything star. Every bit of data I'd archived since I started the plan. Call logs, texts, pictures, emails. And I started making printouts. Folks, I must have spent over $1,500 on staple supplies, printer ink, paper, binders. I cataloged everything in order, from the beginning of the affair until that last bit 2 weeks ago. 14 binders. I then put each one in a box and gift-wrapped it, addressing them to various people. My mother, her parents, my father passed 7 years ago, her 2 sisters, her brother, her HR department. Did I forget to mention P works for the same company, and there's an express rule against inter-company relationships, several of her friends, P himself, and P.S. parents. I lugged all of those boxes to the post office and shipped them out on December 16th. ETA for delivery, December 22nd to 24th, perfect. So, we're now at Christmas Eve. Sue came home around the usual time. No idea if she'd seen P. I'd stopped tracking her on the app on the 18th. Figured I'd gotten all the mileage I needed. As per usual, she showered, hung out with me a bit. I blew her back out on the living room couch. Yes, I know I'm an asshole, and she turned in for the night. The finale was upon me. At long last, the nuclear option I'd been arming since June was finally about to launch. In the middle of the night, I woke up. I wrapped one of the 3 remaining binders with the divorce papers taped to the inside cover and set it on my side of the bed with a note that said, Merry Christmas. Next to it, I left my old phone and my lawyer's business card. I packed up the remainder of my most needed items, enough to fill 2 backpacks, and I left my home, the home I spent 23 years in, for the very last time. That, my friends, was 1 week ago. To Sue, I am completely off the grid. Gone. Shadow ghosted. She's blocked on Facebook, but still hasn't blocked me, for some reason, so I'm keeping tabs on the fallout. It's absolutely glorious. My packages have reached everyone I send them out to, and Sue is getting crucified. Her youngest sister completely dressed her down. Both of her parents have condemned her. My mom absolutely destroyed her. Like, Holy cow, I know my mom has a mean streak, but the things she called Sue are unbelievable. She's been frantically trying to find out if anyone knows where I am, but those that do aren't saying a word. All over her Facebook feed, she's desperately trying to reach me, because I'm guessing she knows I'm likely looking. But I'm not saying a word to her without my lawyer present. That'll be the next time I share oxygen with her. She's got no way of spinning the narrative to paint me as the bad guy, because I've exposed her to everyone who matters. To her, and from what a mutual friend who works at the same company as her told me, she and P are apparently being put on administrative leave as of tomorrow. So, yay, chances are she'll be going into 2021 unemployed. As for the final 2 binders, one has been turned over to my lawyer as my final bit of evidence for my impending divorce. The last one, I put it in my storage unit, to be burned in Joey's fire pit when the divorce is final. Do I feel guilty about this? No, not even in the slightest. 23 years I did right by this woman. I gave her the home she wanted. I gave her the family she wanted. I gave her the life I felt we both deserved. And I loved her unconditionally. Never have I faltered. Never have I strayed. Never have I even entertained the notion of breaking my vows. When an issue came up that I felt was affecting our marriage, I came to her. We sorted it out. She opted to find comfort in another man's bed rather than come to me and say she was unhappy with our intimate life at the time. She decided to step out with a young punk who gave her the tingles. So no, I have no sympathy for what I did or for her. She can burn in hell for all I care. The most I stand to lose is my house, a car, and maybe a couple $100 a month in alimony. But seeing as a divorce is filed under the statute of adultery in NYS, which is at fault under certain circumstances my lawyer confirmed apply to my case, that might get waived with the insurmountable amount of evidence I provided. As far as I'm concerned, she's dead to me, and I'm never looking back. Christmas Day was the first full day I spent in my new apartment. It's still a work in progress, but I've made it my home. My boys and oldest girlfriend came over and spent a good portion of the day with me. The girlfriend brought treats she'd made and whipped up a really nice meal. I got to sit and talk with my sons in a way I hadn't done in a really long time, and it was beautiful. My big sis also came over with more goodies and hung out with us. It was the first time she'd seen her nephews in nearly a year. Having all of them around did me real good. If I'd been by myself, I think I would have just drunk myself into a stupor. Everyone cleared out around 8 p.m., and I decided to go hang out with Joey and his wife, Claudia. We spent a couple of hours, had a few drinks, and then I went back home. The next big development happened last week, December 29th, 2020. Around midday, I got a text from Nina asking if I was busy that night. Of course, I wasn't. We agreed to meet up after I got off work. She showed up, and we went to a diner not far from where I work in NYC. We were doing indoor dining at 25% capacity thanks to the pandemic, but it wasn't hard to get seats. After we were seated and ordered our food, Nina pretty much laid all her cards on the table. Honestly, I knew this was coming. She confessed that she's loved me all the way back since we were teenagers, but never got the chance to tell me since Sue swooped in and scooped me up before she could. For context, I've known Nina longer than Sue, by 2 years. She'd been the fourth point of my social square with Ounce and Joey. We were the social outcasts in high school, the raver kids who didn't fit into all the other cliques. Back then, Nina had a weight problem and was diabetic. She was a heavy-set goth chick who was super cool, but no guy would ever give a second glance to. But we always had chemistry. These days, Nina is a personal trainer and yoga instructor. She was the ugly duckling who grew into one hell of a beautiful swan, if I must say. Long story short, we decided that upon the finalization of my divorce, we were going to start seeing each other. And yes, I slept with her that night. Took her back to my new pad, and we had a grand old time. Am I ashamed? Hell no. Nina's been a better friend to me than Sue ever was. Not to say Sue wasn't my best friend, but through the near quarter century I've known Nina, she's always supported me. Even, as I learned that day, willingly taking a step back from her own feelings to allow me to pursue and eventually start a life with Sue. That resonated with me on a level I didn't think it would. That kind of selflessness towards another person is a definition of real love. I know it sounds like I'm just trying to justify it, but to me, it was the right decision, and I plan on exploring what's to come with Nina and I with total commitment. Okay, On to yesterday, the day I met my wife and her lawyer to discuss the divorce. It's now been 2 weeks since I ghosted my soon-to-be ex-wife. This past Monday, I got a phone call from my lawyer stating that Sue's attorney had scheduled a meeting for us to discuss the terms of divorce on January 6, 2021. I met with my lawyer Tuesday morning to discuss my terms. Long story short, an uncontested divorce under the grounds of marital neglect from Sue. My terms were full division of assets, and I would sell my half of the house. Ownership to her. She can have it. We keep our respective vehicles. I keep my cabin in the Poconos, and under the pretenses of marital neglect, she gets no spousal support from me. As for my 17-year-old son, he's free to choose who he wants to reside with, which will most likely be me. So Wednesday came, and I showed up to my lawyer's office dress in my Johnny Cash best. My wife and her lawyer arrived. She looked like absolute hell, barely holding it together. I gave her the stone face. I won't bore you with the lawyer babble, but her lawyer presented an offer for terms of reconciliation. I shut them down almost as soon as she finished listing the details. We agreed to a legal separation leading to an uncontested divorce. The only revision was that I would pay her $653 a month of temporary spousal support to cover the cost of utilities until she's gainfully employed again. Yep, she got fired. P got canned as well. This support would last up to a year after the finalization. I make enough that it won't hurt me financially, even if she drags her feet finding a new job, and she's got enough in her savings to live off of for quite some time. Once a full calendar year has passed after the finalization date, she's on her own. A small price to pay for being rid of her cheating ass. It'll take roughly 3 months for the thing to go through, so early April if there are no cock-ups. I'll be free of her. After the meeting, my lawyer gave me some final words before saying he'd be in touch. Back out on the street, Sue chased me down and asked, "Can we talk?" I figured I'd give her at least that. She'd held it together fairly well in the meeting, but outside, she let the waterworks flow, saying how sorry she was, how she never meant it to go as far as it did. She said she never expected to fall in love with P, but knew when she thought I was cheating how wrong it was to betray her own husband in such a way. She asked, could I ever find it in my heart to forgive her? And maybe in a few years, could we try to start over? That she can't imagine what her life is going to be without me. I tell her to start imagining it soon, because this will be the last time I ever speak to or see her. I tell her that our 17-year-old is almost a man, old enough to make his own choices as his own future. I say that I gave her half of my life and every ounce of love I had unconditionally, and she, in her own words, fell in love with another man. That there's absolutely no chance of me ever forgiving her. That all the love I had for her was slowly killed all those months that she confided and professed her love to P rather than coming to me and telling me she had any form of issue with how things were going with us. I told her I loved who she once was, but I hate who stand before me, and that if I never see her again, it'll be too soon. Here we are, on the sidewalk in Midtown Manhattan, her making a scene, crying her eyes out. A couple of folk walked by and gave side glances, but at that point, I didn't care. I wasn't about to publicly humiliate her. I'd pretty much already socially and professionally destroyed her, but I needed to get the last bit of emotion I had for her out. I finished by telling her I didn't regret the 23 years I spent being her husband. I regretted that in 23 years, she decided the easy way out was a better option, and I have your lovely sons of bitches on Reddit to thank for this last one, because it popped in my head just a second before I said it. For 23 years, I thought she was mine, but it turned out it was just my tone. I put in my Raycons, turned around, and walked away. Later that night, her father called me and apologized. He praised me for always being a good man to his daughter and told me he was ashamed of her, that he raised her better than what she did. Not going to lie, I'm going to miss the old man. My dad died years ago, so he's always been my default father figure. But I can't see myself maintaining a relationship with anyone on her side of the family. After that call, I went on Facebook and symbolically changed my relationship status to divorced. Yay! It's not final yet, but in my eyes, it's over and done. Like I said, when I make a post on Facebook, it's an event, so plenty of folks started hitting me up over Messenger asking questions, and I laid it all out that I'd filed for divorce with Sue earlier in the day. Of course, Nina called me, shocked that I'd pulled the trigger so fast. Obviously, I was already in the process when we spoke, but she had no way of knowing how far along it was. I asked her if she could come over, and of course, she came running. We were intimate again, but this time she stayed the night. We laid in my bed and talked into the wee hours of the morning, and I haven't felt this level of relief and connection in a really long time. Nina gets me, and I can't get enough of being around her. Since the day she confided in me, she's all that's been on my mind. Yeah, I know some folk are going to say it's messed up I'm moving on so fast, but as far as I'm concerned, my marriage ended the day P let Sue touch his penis. So I'm about to do so. Yay, that's it. That's the end. My divorce is in the works, and I'm moving on to start a relationship with Nina. I know in a comment response to someone I said I'd probably not marry ever again, but that was before Nina came clean to me about how she felt towards me, and I can't deny that I feel the same. We're going to take it slow, and we're not announcing anything until a divorce with Sue is legal and official. As for Sue, I could give a flying fig what happens to her. She could move P into our old home for all I care. I'll be getting my money for the house over the course of 2021 in 4 quarterly installments, and aside from the $653 I will pay out directly to her savings account monthly, I never have to see or speak to her again. The hits just keep on coming. Last night, I got a voice call notification on Messenger from one of our mutual friends, one of the few who hadn't abandoned Sue following my outing of her affair. She didn't waste any time when I answered. She said she'd gone to check on Sue and found her passed out in the bedroom, foaming at the mouth, with 2 empty pill bottles next to her. Sue's in the ICU, critical but stable. The doctor said she will likely pull through, but she's clearly not going to be well. My friend begged and pleaded for me to come. Sue's parents and 2 sisters were also there. I guess they were notified after the hospital tried to notify me, but Sue would still have my old number as her emergency contact. I simply told her no. Sue is not my problem anymore, and she clearly decided she wanted to take the easy way out rather than deal with the shame and agony of the 23-year marriage she blew up. I then told her friend that if Sue's family were there, they could help her sort out the pieces, but as far as Sue and I are concerned, there is no Sue and I anymore. I then ended the call. I've had a few hours to sleep on it, and my son called me this morning asking if I knew. I told him yes, but I also let both of them know that if they want to be there and supportive of their mother, I will not hold it against them or judge them for it. She is their mother, after all. But I myself wash my hands of her and care little to nothing about what she does for or to herself anymore. They were both a little taken aback by this, but respected my stance. However, now that the news has broken about her suicide attempt, many of those friends who dropped her are all starting to surface again, saying I need to be there for her, that even despite what she did to me, I need to support her in her time of need. I've also been informed that her AP, P, tried to visit her this morning but wasn't allowed because it's not family. I'm getting dogpiled on to go see her, but I feel nothing for this woman anymore. I haven't for a very long time. I checked out during the process of getting my payback for her betrayal, and I stand by the fact that I don't care at all for what she's done. In fact, it makes me hate her even more. She's the one who was unfaithful. She's the one who thought a near-year-long fling with a guy 5 years older than her oldest son was worth destroying 23 years. And now that she has to face the consequences of her choices, she chooses a most selfish way of dealing with it. Even now, seeing as she's in all likelihood going to survive, she's cultivated immediate sympathy from everyone who took her to task, and I'm being made out to look like the jaded ex-husband unwilling to sympathize for her by most. Her family, not her dad, has reached out to me and said he respect my decision to stay away. It's like I never even truly knew this woman. 23 years, and it comes to this. Yes, I know the way I broke things off with her may have put her in a poor mental state. But now a whole new can of worms have been opened up because either she had a complete mental breakdown and decided to self-delete herself, or she made an extremely risky and calculated move to call favor back from people who just weeks prior condemned her for betraying me. She cheated on me, and now she's a victim? Sorry if this comes off as rantish, but I'm here trying to wrap my brain around this. I want to be perfectly clear. I am not going to visit Sue. She waived her right to me caring about her well-being the day she let P, my personal nickname for her lover, put his dick inside her. This might come off as heartless, because despite the cool, calm, collected way I've been throughout my whole ordeal, my feelings are still very much raw. But I don't give a damn about this woman. I haven't for a very long time. I'm aware I'm going to be vilified by a number of folk here. I don't much give a damn. Think of me however you want. If you were in my shoes, you'd see her actions vastly differently. Some of you folks are going to look up my post history and see the story of what I did to her, and you're going to draw the conclusion that her suicide attempt was my fault, that me tormenting her for all of those months, fooling her into thinking I was cheating on her while she actively cheated on me, then destroying her socially and professionally as a result, was the catalyst for her meltdown. Maybe it was. Maybe I am a heartless sociopath. But as Arthur Fleck so famously said, you get what you deserve. I gave this woman half of my life and did absolutely everything to be the best possible husband she could ever have. By her own admission, I had no bearing in her decision to step outside of our marriage. She did it for her. Her selfishness knows no bounds, and I'm glad to be rid of her. If it makes me the bad guy because I will not go see her and never plan on interacting with her ever again, so be it. I hold true to my damn convictions. She made the choice to betray me. She made the choice to put her needs above the needs of our marriage. So now it's my turn to choose me over everything else. She can rot in the darkest pit of hell for all I care. Let everyone else help her fix her. My obligation to ever care about her well-being ended the day we signed the separation agreement. I just needed to get this off of my chest. If you're going to cast judgment on me for feeling how I feel, save it. Like I said above, after 23 years and 2 children, I never really knew this woman after all. I have no sympathy for her, and I never will. Asterisk update. The aftermath and final goodbye to Sue asterisk today, against everything I said in my previous post. I went to go see Sue. She's been out of the hospital for 4 days now, and believe it or not, it was Nina who convinced me. She said the only way I'd let go of the contempt I feel for her is to see her one last time in her weakened state. So, around 6 p.m., I called her for the first time since I served her. Her hello wasn't the bright and bubbly greeting I'd known for over 2 decades. Her voice was hoarse and weak. The moment she heard my voice, she immediately began crying. It took almost 3 minutes for her to regain composure enough to talk. Before she could say anything, I told her I was coming to see her by 8 p.m., and she agreed. It's about an hour and a half from Co-op City, where my new apartment is, to my old home. So I grabbed a bite to eat from the local pizzeria and started on my way. I got there about 7:47 p.m., and she was already at the door before I pulled into the driveway. As I came near, I could see the toll her actions had taken on her. She was noticeably thinner, the unhealthy kind of thin. As a whole, she looked like the walking dead. First thing she does is try to come in for a hug, and I stop her cold. She got the hint that I wasn't there to console her and backed off immediately. We go inside and sit in the living room. Almost immediately, Sue tells me she wants to come clean about everything. She tells me she couldn't live with the guilt of what she did to me and the boys. From the day we signed the separation agreement, she went into a downward spiral of guilt and agony that led her to her suicide attempt. Her friend, the one that called me from the hospital, had noticed her behavior and started coming over to check in on her. She said the doctors told her had she not been found just an hour more, she would have succeeded. She admitted to failing me as a wife, that her falling for P was wrong, as was her choice not to pull back when she knew she was getting too deep. She also apologized for sharing the many intimate details of our marriage and speaking ill of me to him, that she never imagined herself being the kind of person who was capable of doing that, but she was. She said she believed in her head that she was doing the right thing, but ultimately, when she thought I was cheating, it all hit her like a ton of bricks. The feeling of betrayal was suffocating, and she had to get out as soon as possible, but it was obviously too late by then. She then asked me at what point did I stop caring, to which I said, the night you confronted me with the notion of me cheating with the fervor that you did, knowing full well you'd been sleeping with P for months at that point. I lost all respect for you, and it steeled my resolve to enact my plan. She told me that when she woke up Christmas morning and found the gift I left, she was over the moon until she opened it. That when she realized what it was and how much I had known, she literally went mad and hasn't set foot in our bedroom since. She was frantically trying to find if anyone knew where I was, but when she went on Facebook to ask, she started getting thrashed by friends and family about what she had done, but had no idea how everyone knew so fast. That's when I told her about the other binders. The look of shock on her face was priceless. It all dawned on her that I did this to her. Everything she's gone through, her friends turning on her, her family shaming her, and yes, even her losing her job was my doing. She just fell silent and shut down after that. I took the time to go use the bathroom then, and it was in shambles. The mirror was broken. Her skincare products were all over the place, and the tub looked like it hadn't been cleaned since they took her to the hospital. When I came back out to the living room, she has her face in her hands, weeping, and I can honestly say I felt nothing. No more anger, no more rage, and absolutely not a shred of pity. They say the opposite of love is indifference. Looking at her, that's all I felt. She looks up at me and says, I have set everything up. I ruined us, and I have no idea what to do. I can't do this by myself. I tell her she's got her family, her friend who found her, and our sons, but she doesn't have me. She never will, ever again. I tell her I came to give her closure from the ordeal she just subjected herself to, but the moment I walk out that door, I'm never looking back. So, the topic of P comes up not long after. She tells me he reached out to her 2 days ago. They talked for a couple of hours, and it ended with her telling him he needs to move on with his life, find a younger woman, and forget she exists. The remainder of the convo was Sue apologizing for betraying me and asking again, was this really the end? I look her dead in the eyes with no hesitation and say, yes, it's been over long before I served the divorce notice on Christmas. I felt it was my cue to depart. No words were said, because what more could be said? I left her sitting on the couch, closed the door behind me, got in my car, and drove home. It's 2:56 a.m. as I'm typing this. I needed to get this out while it's fresh in my head. This is it. The saga of Sue is done. My 17-year-old and I are both scheduled for counseling in the coming weeks. Nina and I are still going strong and sticking to the plan of keeping things under wraps until my divorce is final. I'm staying active and motivated and looking forward to a future with a woman I know will cherish and honor me because she's done so from the shadows for decades. It's time for me to focus on the life ahead of me. On April 13th, just 1 month ago, Sue officially became my ex-wife. My lawyer, Jeff, called me on April 12th and asked me to come see him the following day. When I did, he handed me the finalization notice and shook my hand. I couldn't just leave it at that, so I went and gave him a hug and thanked him for all he'd done for me. On my way home, all I could do was just replay mental movies of everything from the last 24 years of my life, all the memories, all the history. When I stepped into my apartment, it finally happened. I hit the floor, and all the emotion that had been compressed in me came pouring out. I haven't cried like that in ages, but it wasn't a sad cry, not by any means. My soul felt like it had been set free, finally pulled from the deepest, darkest abyss. The phone call I made that night was to my oldest son. I kept it short and sweet, saying that it's finalized and his mother and I are no longer married as of that day. He asked how I felt. I'm sure he could tell in my voice I'd been crying, and I told him I was fine. My 17-year-old got on the phone next, and we spoke for nearly 90 minutes. My oldest and his fiancée have been doing a great job looking after him, and is still, like myself, going to therapy. I won't go into detail about what we spoke of, but I will say there's still a lot of work to be done, specifically with his view of relationships. Nina came to see me later that night, as she always does, and obviously I gave her the news. She just wrapped her arms around my waist and held tight as, yes, I cried again. Once I was able to compose myself again, Nina told me no matter what, she will never betray me and loves me with all her heart, and I know every word of it is true. I might catch some flack for saying this, as I don't regret the life I built with Sue, and, despite all she did, she gave me 2 strong sons. But it's clear to me now, I picked the wrong woman. Nina, in the last 4.5 months, has given so much and asked nothing in return. All she asks of me is to be there for her. I don't want to drone on about her for too long, but she truly is my hero. There's also some other interesting events that came to pass following the divorce finalization. Case in point, P actually reached out to me. Yes, he actually sent me a message here on Reddit. Turns out, he saw the story when it blew up on YouTube and immediately recognized it. Before anyone asked, no, I will not be revealing what his Reddit username is. I think I've made the kids suffer enough. The first thing he did was apologize for his hand in all of this. He gave me a rundown of what the result of the binder I sent his mother did. Essentially, he's been excommunicated from his family. His mother, as I learned when I was planning out my payback, is a devout Catholic woman, in church 3 days a week. Nomi Padre, Spiritu Santi type of devout. So her views on marriage are sacred, and learning that her son just broke up a marriage that was almost a quarter-century long sent her into a rage. She kicked him out that very day, and within the week, when his employer got the binder I sent to them, he was fired as well. He's been couch-hopping and trying to find a new job ever since. He claimed he wanted to reach out to me on social media, all the places he blocked me when he was with Sue, but admits he was afraid because, in his words, if I was able to find him before, I could find him again. I admit I could have gone all in on destroying this kid, but I didn't. I asked him when was the last time he saw Sue, and he said he hadn't seen her in months. The last time he had talked to her, Sue told him to forget about her and move on with his life, which I recall Sue saying the last time I had spoke to her. So at the very least, she wasn't lying about that. I asked a few more questions, and the kid was surprisingly forthcoming. I guess he was looking for some kind of penance for the chaos he brought upon himself. A lot of what he said mirrored info I gleaned from text documentation I gathered. I didn't do much responding. I just asked and he answered. The conversation went on for 20 or so minutes before he said again how sorry he was, and that's when I hit him with this copy-pasted from the convo. You're a 27-year-old man who has to live the rest of your life knowing that your own mother now loathes you for breaking up a marriage that was almost as long as how long you've been breathing. I know you've messaged me because karma is eating at you, but I won't give you closure. When I was 27, I was building a legacy. Right now, you're a homeless, jobless homewrecker. If you're smart, you'll learn from this lesson. If you're not, you'll stay messed up until you're my age, assuming you make it that far. I'd wish you luck, but you don't need luck. You need to get your life in order. With that, I ended the convo and blocked him. Not the kind of closure he was looking for, obviously, and I could have been a lot more hostile, but I think those words will haunt him enough as is. The next major event is that as of May 4th, 2021, Nina is now my wife. Over the last 2 months, we have had long discussions as to where we want things to go between us. Nina made it abundantly clear that she has no intentions of ever being with anyone else but me, and she wants my namesake. She wants to be my wife and wants me to adopt her daughter. We'll call her Anna, as my own. As I've made mention of in the past, I adore this kid. She's 6 now. Birthday was last month, and she idolizes me. I'm the first father figure she's had since her bio dad pretty much cut out on them when she was 4, and Nina's made a practice of not introducing any man she's been involved with since her divorce into Anna's life unless they had staying power. Needless to say, I have staying power and experience raising children. And speaking of Anna, my 17-year-old and Anna are like 2 peas in a pod. The big bro, a little sis dynamic between them is both stunning and adorable. My 17-year-old has really clung on to Anna, and she revels in it. I had a talk to my therapist about it, and he said it's definitely a good sign. My son sees innocence he wants to protect in Anna, even though his own innocence has been shattered. So we decided last Monday to go to City Hall and pull the trigger. Took 24 hours to get the marriage license, and the reveal was the most uneventful reveal ever conceived. I made mention as if no one didn't see this coming, and Big Sis said, now placing bets on when the now expecting post goes up. We thought we were keeping our relationship under wraps all these months, but pretty much everyone figured it out already. So yay, that was kind of hilarious. Some people are going to say it was too soon. And yes, I said in past comment responses that I'm never getting married again, but that was all before the true dynamic between Nina and I manifested. This woman has professed her undying, unconditional love for me. She has laid in my arms and cried, saying how happy she is and how she never in a million years imagined she'd ever have the chance to be with me. She's gone in painstaking detail about how she's felt about me the past 25 years, and how even while she was married, she lamented the notion that Sue won. And I honestly had no idea how deep that rabbit hole went. She even went as far as saying there were times where she herself had thoughts of having an affair with me pop into her head, but she could never be that kind of person. And even so, through all of the years I've known her, she has given me so much and asked so little in return. Even the woman I married and had 2 children with has never shown the amount of love to me that Nina has. I'd be a fool not to give her my name. So now she has it, and we're in the early stages of paperwork for me adopting Anna. And finally, there's Sue. I've not spoken to her since the last time I visited our marital home, which is going on 4 months ago. But mutual friends, the ones that are left, do send me updates from time to time. Through one of those friends, a realtor, I know that she sold a house, and he gave her a job as a clerical assistant in his firm, and in doing so, waived the assisted payments I had to fork over as a result of her unemployment. She now lives in a small apartment close by his office, which he also helped set her up in. She's functioning but a shell of the woman she was. She's barely gained weight and keeps to herself. She comes in, does her work, and doesn't socialize with anyone but him, likely because, her socializing with people from work is where this whole thing started. The last update I got on her was at the end of March, where I thanked him for looking out for her, but told him I don't need any more updates. She's no longer my problem. I'm almost certain she knows about Nina and I, as some of those surviving mutual friends have commented about us. As my 17-year-old is a year away from being a legal adult, I have no reason to ever speak to her again, and I won't. And that's that. My journey of betrayal, revenge, attempted suicide, and mental agony is over. I'll field questions and perhaps a few comments, but ultimately, after this, I'm fading back into the swamp to live with my new frog wife and her little tadpole. This whole experience has been a whirlwind of emotion, a painful awakening, and a surprising path to a new, unexpected happiness. While the road was brutal, I wouldn't change a single step I took. It led me to where I am today. So, tell me, after hearing everything, what would **you* have done in my place?